All right. All right. Hi, everybody. So, oh my God, that was the most frustrating string of events ever trying to get this set up. Hi, everybody. Okay. But yes, we're here. So as you know, today is a very, very special live stream. Ever since like almost day one of this channel, people have been asking to see Andrew and hear his thoughts and experiences of being married to a multiple. And so without further ado, let's drum roll, please. Da, 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 da. It's Andrew! Yay!
Hello.
And Leia, she's here too. Say hi. Hi. She's, Mom put me down. All right, so let's pull up the chat. All right. All right, so we will go ahead. I'm going to sit and just keep everyone company. But go ahead and ask Andrew your questions. In the meantime, Andrew, do you want to say anything about yourself?
I don't know what to say. It's disorienting to look at the camera as a few seconds. Oh, we gotta still see the questions.
I was going to say, let's
there we
adjust
go.
it here so you don't have the delay. There you go.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Well, we have our first question. How did you meet when?
We met in the Army through a mutual acquaintance of both of ours. Someone who failed out of my job training went to the same place that Bronwyn was training, and when he found out that she was coming to Texas and knew that I was there, they were like, "Hey, why don't you meet Andrew?"
And then I did.
Am I in school as well? I actually just graduated 3 weeks ago with a nursing degree, and previous to that, I have a English degree. What altar did you meet first? Which one did I meet first?
Pretty sure it was Daniel.
Daniel, maybe. I will say, like, before we knew she had DID, and it was all kind of like, I don't know, kind of fluttery and getting in contact with the system. I had two incidents. I don't think that seems a little negative. With someone who was claiming to be a fairy, and so it could have been Mistletoe or Kitt during that time. I don't think we've ever actually readdressed that same thing.
I don't think we have either.
Our first date, what did we do? I don't know what our first official date was.
We friend dated a lot before we dated.
Yeah, we did.
Putting the charger on.
Before you found out.
I was going to say we could do the first night we held hands. Because that was pretty cute.
Oh, yeah, when we went to San Antonio, and we were both pretty drunk at the time, and we were walking back to our hotel, and I think I was like, I was kind of like wobbly all over the place, and I used that to be like, oh, I need to hold your hand to stable myself so I don't fall over.
He was slick.
When you want to do something special for her, do you do something for the whole system or just for when? I like to treat everyone like they're their own independent person. So if I do something special for Win, I do something special for Win. If I do something special for Kitt, it's just for Kitt, and same for everyone. Is it like having a large family since there are a variety of ages and personalities? Yeah, I suppose so. I think we just started using the term like we're all I was about to say my last name, and I don't think we can do that on the internet.
Yeah, let's not do that.
That we were all a big family, and so yeah, I would say it's kind of like having a big all large family. Can you tell who's out if you've been apart for a while? I think the longest we've been apart since we knew DID has only been like a week or two. And I don't think that's enough time to forget how a person talks or their own mannerisms.
Oh, wow. Look, we've got Bahrain, Brazil, the Caribbean. We've got a whole globe of people watching right now. That's so exciting. Hi, everybody. Hi, world.
Oh, there's so many questions.
What do you think? What did you think when Wen told you about her DID?
So, that's a tough one because someone asked this as part of the initial post too. When we first found out about DID, like I always knew she had PTSD, and PTSD with dissociations was what it was diagnosed as. And so like I always knew there was the dissociations like I always thought it was just part of the PTSD. And so they're in like, I guess, I mean, ashamed to say it now at this point, but I was actually really skeptical about it at first, of just being like, no, this is just the PTSD dissociations, this isn't a DID related thing. Actually started talking or going to what do you call it when you see a therapist? That's not, I would say get-togethers, but that's not the right.
Went to talk to my therapist.
Yeah, but it's not, it makes it sound like I was just talking to her. We had like appointments. There we go. I had appointments with her therapist where she kind of talked me through the whole where we went from the beginning, step A to, she has DID.
Do all of you, Andrew, and the whole system know about the concept of neurodiversity?
No.
I just thought that neurodiversity was like, you've got neurotypical and then neurodiverse, which is people with mental stuff. I guess I don't know.
Are there any particular things you struggled with living together? I suppose this is just DID related, not just living with another person. So
there are always challenges living with another person.
When a new alter emerges, how do you adjust? I'll say like from the beginning, what worked for me, because this was all like a big new scary thing for me. And so I didn't know how to handle myself. And so I don't like to act within the moment of like extreme emotions. And so what helped me a lot was actually her YouTube channel, was becoming familiar with people through the YouTube channel, and just kind of getting to know them to the point of where like, okay, I'm comfortable with this, and let's get going. And from there, as we met new alters, I was more comfortable with the whole idea of DID. It just became a lot easier. Like I think a big stepping stone was like solidifying in my head each alter is their own individual person, and being able to treat them like they're their own individual person helped me a lot move from my beginning struggle to where we are now. How has the dynamic life in general changed since that you are involved with Kitt? Well, I guess we're on a lot friendlier terms.
With Kitt, friendly is a soft word.
Now, Kitt and I butted heads a lot to begin with. We're both very sarcastic people. And when you meet a sarcastic person for the first time, it's hard to be like, are you being sarcastic or are you not being sarcastic? And so we're kind of at, like, I don't know how to describe that, but not like the friendliest at the beginning, I suppose. How did you adjust to DID?
You mean like involved? Like she talked on Tumblr about how you guys are together now.
What?
You and Kitt.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like I answered the question.
Oh, okay.
Has an alter ever ruined a date? No, I'll say I've ruined a date because of an alter. And again, this is going back to the beginning of when like I understood PTSD, but I didn't understand DID. And so for me, I always thought like, oh, the switch meant that something bad was happening. And so like with PTSD, you want to like remove them from the situation. And so whenever like Alter switched, I'd be like, okay, time to go home. Let's get you into a safe place and let's, you know, eat something delicious and watch a cartoon to make us all feel better. How did, wouldn't please do a love story on how you two got together? Oh.
We'll make a video later. Maybe I'll do like a little cartoon of how we met.
Julie's here. Aren't you supposed to be at work?
Julie, you're supposed to be at work.
What was I gonna say? Oh goodness. The question.
There was, what is it like to spend time with the littles?
Oh, with the littles. You know, we don't have, I was gonna say, I don't know how much interactions we've had. There was Michelle's birthday party, which was a lot of fun. I think, what's this show she likes? Banana?
Banana.
Yeah, we watched Banana and ate cake, which was a lot of fun. Was it Karen that I read the story to?
Yeah.
Okay. Karen, I read a story to her before bed. Usually, like, my interactions with the littles is if they're, like, really scared before they go to bed. And so we'll kind of talk things out, you know, sort of like tucking them into bed sort of situation. When you switched since you last saw Andrew, did you say, hey, it's when, or hi, it's me? Does Andrew?
Well, that's a question for me, not for Andrew. Let's focus on Andrew.
Well, I mean, I can answer that.
Okay.
I think the question is like, do I, I'm a Slytherin, by the way, Hogwarts house question that people get asked me that a lot. Am I on good terms with all alters? Yeah, I certainly am. Oh, I guess that's more of a Bronwyn question. Sorry.
All the ones he's met, yes. Jonathan hasn't come out around Andrew, I don't think. I think that's the only one you haven't met.
Yeah. I'm saying, because, yeah, I think I met Todd for the first time a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think we just watched YouTube videos about Godzilla. And that was because I was watching YouTube videos about Godzilla, not because he wanted to watch YouTube videos about Godzilla. Do you consider her first kisses as your first kisses? Sorry, I don't understand that question. Have you noticed anything when the system was hallucinating? If yes, how did you respond?
He was asleep during that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I mean, we could talk about before DID with, there were like minor times of where there was hallucinations, but that was
before we knew about the DID.
Yeah. Has Dr. Mann interviewed Andrew yet? She did call me on the phone. I actually think we've talked a few times now.
The first time she came out was when she cooked you dinner.
Yeah, that was a real odd experience for me because I was like, that's not a voice I recognize. So yeah, I don't think she's interviewed me. We've talked a few times, and I think at one point the last phone call was she was like, "You need to talk to Wynn. I don't know why I'm going to work for her. You should see if she's okay." And I was like, "Oh no." How do I feel about her religion? I feel the same way about every religion. If it works for you, that's awesome. If not, then, you know, as long as you're not hurting anybody, then you're fine with your religion. I'm not a very religious person by any stretch of the imagination. Whom is Dr. Mann?
Dr. Mann's a new alter. I'm going to be posting a video about her on Monday. She doesn't realize she's part of a system. And there is a heavy level of delusion surrounding her, just her looking in the mirror and seeing herself and not me, and believing she's her own complete different individual. So that's interesting. That's going to be a fun challenge, but you'll learn more about her Monday.
Question about how our home works. Did we decorate and situate our living space to feel fluid with the other altars? No, it was more of we have a ton of stuff and not a lot of space, and I'm more of the home decorator, and so I I think I did most of the decorations and was like, hey, do you feel like that's okay? And she'd be like, yeah, that's good. So
He's really good at
how did
interior.
how we proposed. That's actually an awesome story.
Should I make that video public, do you think?
I mean, maybe. I don't. We'll have to edit out. Better edit it
Well,
out the
I
names.
was gonna say, yeah.
So how did I propose? So I made a video with a bunch of friends of mine, kind of going through our relationship, and I was like, hey, this has been our journey to this far, but now I have a question for you. And so that was the crux of the video. And Wynn's dad always likes to send her like YouTube videos and like funny things. And so on her birthday, we were having the whole family was getting together. And so I was like, well, let's go somewhere super special for your birthday. And she was like, I want to go to Dave and Buster's. And if you know, Dave and Buster's is like an adult arcade. And I was like, are you sure you want to go to the arcade for your birthday? And she's like, yeah, I want to go to the arcade. And I was like, all right, we're proposing at the arcade. And so really funny because all the photos of me proposing, she's got like, we're in the arcade and she's got all the like
the glow necklaces.
Glow necklaces and everything. And so yeah, I had her dad be like, oh, hey, there's this YouTube video I want to show you, which was the proposal video. And so then at the end I proposed and she said yes. Spoiler alert.
I also cried a lot. It was a beautiful video. Yeah, we'll make sure all the names and stuff are edited out and I'll share it with you guys because it's the most beautiful proposal video ever.
Does Wynn wear the pants in the relationship?
I mean, I do wear jeans.
She does. Yeah, that's something we've come a long way from. So, and I like to think that we're on equal footing. We both make make decisions, and so
yeah, but it's very much a team thing. No one rules the relationship.
What do you do to engage for your self-care? How do you keep from getting overwhelmed? So like if I'm, like I said, I don't like making decisions when I'm like kind of feeling too strongly towards any emotion. Like for example, like even like positive, if I'm way too happy, I'll do like really ridiculous things. Like if I'm really happy, like one example, which is actually a really funny story. I was in a college town and I was drinking with all my friends and I was just having the best night ever. Actually, I think this was my
bachelor party.
Yeah, this was actually my bachelor party. So I was having a great time. And we go to like this hot dog stand in the middle of the street and I start eating it and, I'm just like, this is the best hot dog I've ever had in my entire life. And so there was this huge line of people behind me. And I was like, there's 20 people. How much is 20 hot dogs? And the guy just told, I don't even remember what it was. And I just threw him a wad of cash. And I was like, everyone gets hot dogs. So,
well, there was one time you weren't even intoxicated. You just, because for a long time he lived in Texas and I moved to this state. So we were long distance and he would come visit. And one time he was so happy to come visit. We went out to dinner and he tipped the waiter 100%. Yeah,
so I do things like that. But anyways, that's not the question. Is how do I do to get overwhelmed? Like, so I'm a pretty big introverted person. So like, I kind of like to separate myself from a situation and just kind of, like read a book, play a video game, or go work out. Working out's a big thing for me, is to just go work out and burn off a lot of energy till where I'm just so tired that everything kind of like comes back to the center. Like that helps me center myself. And so from there, I kind of will be able to evaluate a situation better. And so I like to think I have a pretty level headed then at that point, and I just kind of go through a pros and cons sort of thing. So
I don't know if you're saying, but a lot of people are saying you sound like Evan from Jeremy's System. Have you not?
No.
You've seen videos of Evan. I'll show you.
Okay, I've probably seen. Does Lee? No, like we've actually talked about because am I? All right, there's two good questions. Well, everyone says, "Do I work out with Lido?" No, because I specifically have a gym membership because I like to work out a lot, and Lido works out at the apartment gym. So, and I pointed as if you guys knew where that was. So she works at, or he does, excuse me, at the apartment gym because their workout is a very on and off sort of thing. Whereas I work out 3 or 4 days a week at the gym. And so I have my gym membership and they go to the apartment gym when they do.
Hi, Julian Brenda, my coworkers who are watching right now.
Then am I still on active duty? No. I will be going back on to active duty though in the next couple months though. So pretty jazzed about that. All right. I feel like we've missed a ton of questions.
We super are.
That's a good one. Was I surprised by Wynn's diagnosis? I'll say initially I was very surprised. Like I was talking about this earlier of where like there was just a long period of just being like in sort of denial, disbelief about it. But the more we kind of, worked with each other through her therapist, and then we got a couples therapist ourselves too, just to focus on, our relationship through that time period. Everything kind of made a lot more sense than like looking back on it. So what is your advice you can give for explaining DID to a partner? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever had to explain that to someone, or just like what would be a good way for someone with DID to explain it to their partner. Sorry, that's gonna let me come back to that one. Let me think about that, and I'll come back to that. If we could travel anywhere, where would you go? There's so many places I want to go.
That's the difficult question we're trying to answer.
So yeah, we're planning a trip for next summer. I'm pretty sure we're gonna spend a few weeks in Japan is the idea. But like I want to go. We've never been to Rome. I want to go to Rome. I want to go to Jordan as well. I'm trying to think of other really big places I want to go to. I want to go to Australia too, and New Zealand. I don't know, just kind of like everywhere is where I want to go. Come to the Netherlands.
Oh, I like this question.
What?
Do you wish you could see the inner world?
Do I wish I could see the inner world? I'll say like, I guess that's not a related question. Yeah, I think that'd be really I think that would be a neat thing. Because that made me think of a conversation Daniel and I were having, because when myself and Daniel are all playing like a game together where it's just kind of like one person versus the other, but with only the three of us and then only actually two bodies, it kind of makes things more complicated. And I was just like, I wish you guys all had your own bodies. This would make this so much easier to be able to play games. So there were no DID-like symptoms. No, there were DID-like symptoms before Wynn's diagnosis. They were just like, the way I rationalized it in my head was because she had PTSD and she had dissociation. The DID was kind of hidden under where the diagnosis was PTSD with dissociations. And so everything that was DID related, I kept going, well, that's the dissociation part of PTSD, when in fact, it was their two separate diagnoses. So that's kind of where because I think on one video she's like, there were no like signs or symptoms of it, but I mean there were plenty enough. But we just kind of always rationalized it as the separate diagnosis.
Yeah, it's funny because we'll be sitting there, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, you remember that one thing that was super weird?" And I was like, "That was Kitt or something," and Andrew's like, "Oh my god, that makes so much more sense now."
Favorite board game? Right now we're doing Warhammer Kill Team, so that's kind of our big thing. We also really like Kingdom Death, so
good stuff.
How long have you two been married? 4 years. 5. Sorry, that's a crazy. We should know. 2014, 4 years. Have we played Pandemic? We have. I think we bought that and we played it a bunch a while ago, and we haven't played that in a very long time. We get just, I don't know. She works at a game store, and so there's always new games to play. Mm-hmm. So whoa, my goodness. Do we want to have children? Yeah, eventually. I think we're both at a point, though, where we're both graduating college. And so kind of waiting to a point where we're much more financially stable, I guess would be the best way to put it, to go ahead and do throw in another life into that mix of, someone asked a question previously, and sorry, it was still on my mind of, do I get a present for everyone's birthday? My throat is getting really dry.
Do you want to get more water?
No, I got water. Okay. Do you want to answer that real quick?
Okay, so not all of us actually have birthdays. Right now, Michelle and Kitt and I are the only 3 that have birthdays. He did get presents for Michelle on her birthday, and I assume in October he's gonna get me something. And Kitt.
Yeah, no, because not everyone has birthdays, but I've done my best to try to make sure like everyone gets like a present every now and then.
That's true.
Like Daniel really wanted to play Kill Team with us, so we bought him a little pack of Warhammer guys so he could play. Kim likes Pokemon, so we got her a bunch of the Pokemon cards.
He knows how it's actually pronounced. He does that on purpose before comments start going. I'm like, that's not how you say it.
Yeah, I'd say. Oh, sorry. I should read the question before I start answering questions. Am I in love with her altars? Also, yeah. I'd say different. Like, I'm in love with Wynn, but I definitely love all of her altars. What animal would you be? Penguin. Those are my favorite animals ever. I just like going watching them at the zoo and just being like, that would be me. That's my life.
Waddle.
Well, to the response of you are the best Andrew. There are a lot of Andrews, but I like to think I'm a pretty good Andrew myself. Do I have a favorite movie? I have a lot of favorite movies. I'm trying to think of what are some of my favorite ones? Like ones that I can keep.
Alien
and Aliens. Yeah, I do love those movies. I'm trying to think of other. The Emperor's New Groove, actually, yeah. Was it Kitt that asked me that? Yeah, Kitt asked me the other day, what's my favorite movie? And I was like, Emperor's New Groove. And I was like, yeah, that's Emperor's New Groove is my favorite.
Yeah, she was like, let's watch a movie that you like. And he said that. And she was like, never mind.
Where am I from? Kind of all over the place. Originally born in New Jersey. Spent a lot of time in Southern California, Georgia. I lived in South Korea for a while. I lived in Florida, lived in Texas. So kind of all over the place. Do I watch the Entropy Systems videos? Yeah, I do actually watch her videos. Like I was saying before, like that the videos helped me a lot in the beginning of getting to know about her DID in sort of a capacity that I was more comfortable with. And so I watch that, and then I continue watching it just because I think they're fun. And it's helpful to just like, sometimes I learn, like I'll still learn things while I watch her videos. So I find it really helpful. what advice would you give partners of DID persons? That kind of goes back to that question I meant to come back to. I think the best advice and what helped me the most was just recognizing that they're all individual people and treat every one of those alters with the same respect you'd give another person. Like, you're not always going to get along. You're not always going to be the best friends, but kind of like they're, treat them like your family. You're not always going to be on the best of terms, but they're still your family, and treat them with respect and love like you would treat your own family. How do you explain DID to family and alters to your family?
I don't think they know.
No, they do know.
Your family knows?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if I just explained it like as much as it being like, I guess it would have been a while ago to be like, if she got diagnosed with DID, and which means, there's multiple identities. And I think the biggest thing was the topic of conversation was when she couldn't eat gluten. So that was a much bigger deal for my family than is coming from an Italian family. The not being able to eat pasta was a much bigger deal than having multiple identities. So what are our favorite activities to do with different alters? I think kind of depend, well, I guess more on what they enjoy. Daniel and I have been doing Kill Team. Kim and I will watch horror movies and play the Pokemans. I'm not good at Pokemon.
Well, she plays for hours every week online. And
Yeah.
It's like, Andrew, let's play. And he's like, I've only played 3 times. It's not quite fair.
Am I right-handed? Yes, I am right-handed.
Oh my God, it's my brother. Hi, Rowan.
Are you sure that's the same Rowan?
I mean, there aren't a lot of Rowans.
How many cats do we have? We have 2 cats. All right. We're at a slog for questions here right now. Do I want to write a book about DID experiences? No, I don't. I guess maybe I think it's a lot less interesting than other people think, as much as it's just a fact of life for me, and I never think my life is that particularly interesting, so it's just kind of a commonplace thing for me. So
I think it'd be fun to write a book. So the question was for both of us. So
Oh.
like, yeah, no, I think it'd be fun. But the thing is, I will start writing something and abandon it about 2 weeks later. So the chance of me ever actually writing and finishing a book is probably 0. So I like the idea of it.
when your hair is on point, so good job. Michelle chose her own birthday, didn't she?
Yeah, she was just like, May 27th. It's like, okay, why? She goes, I don't know, that's a good day. And then we looked it up and it was a Sunday, so I was like, okay, that's really convenient. We've got Sunday off.
So, yeah. How does Andrew feel about Mistletoe's integration? I don't know. Like, Mistletoe and I never really... I don't think we had a lot of interactions, really.
Mm-mm.
No, I think we only had a handful of them. So it was just like her integrating was just kind of like being in a class with someone that you'd never really talked to, and then you're not in that class anymore. And so you're kind of like, well, I guess I'll never see you again. So that's kind of how it kind of felt that.
Yeah, Mistletoe is around, like, that I was aware of, like, between being aware of the alters and whatever. She was around for such a short amount of time. Like that was while Andrew was like still trying to like get used to and learn about the system and stuff. So by the time we were actually to a place where like everybody's hanging out with Andrew and stuff, Mistletoe had already integrated, so she didn't really get the chance to build a relationship.
Am I a fan of Sense8? No, couldn't really get into the style of it. I think it was most like it was the like shaky camera a lot that just kind of made me violently ill while trying to watch it, and so I don't do well with that. On daily, how many times do you interact with an alter? I'd say pretty consistently. Kim and Kitt. It's like almost every day, thereabouts. And now it's gotten to the point where, like, if I don't see one of them for a day, I'm just kind of like, are they okay? What's going on with them? Why are they? What's happened to them? Kim doesn't want to play Pokemon with me. Are the others in the system aware of when are doing anything personal? That'd be a win question because I have no concept. I hope not.
Well, okay, so being aware is one thing, but we do have like Kim talked about in her thing that whoever's out front can ask Jacob to put a wall up and create like a amnesia barrier between who's up front and whoever's in back. So we do have the capability to be like, people are like, oh, well, I guess something's going on, but I'm glad I can't see it.
All right. What's my favorite thing about each alter? I don't know. I'm really like I'm so bad at questions like that because if even people are like, "What's your favorite thing about your wife?" and I'd be like, "I don't know. She makes me happy," and that's awesome. Most things make me real angry or sad. So, but no, I'm just kidding about that. But yeah, I'm real bad at when people say, "What's my favorite thing?" Like it's more of a like how they emotionally make me feel is always really good. So I think I have positive interactions with everyone. So I like them as their own people. So I don't know if I could pick one favorite thing about each alter. Oh wait.
How you feel about Kitt being co-host?
I don't know. I felt like that was just a title she made up for herself, and I was like, if that makes Kitt happy, then it is anything going to change? And she was like, no. And I was like, I mean, you can call yourself what you want, then. Your husband. What advice would you give explaining DID to a spouse? Being straightforward and patient, I guess, is the best thing. I think that patience was a big thing that we struggled with from the beginning of being like allowing your partner to adjust to that. Like you yourself won't get the opportunity. Like that's your life and you don't get the opportunity to adjust to that. But kind of being patient with other people to allow them to be comfortable with the idea. Like I've said, I think 2 times already, like the YouTube videos honestly like super helped me a lot. So maybe like something along those lines or just like letters, I think would be a real cool idea to be like, hey, have your alters write them letters as a, to it not being something that they have to immediately respond to give them time to reflect on themselves, to be like, how do I want to respond to this? How does this make me feel? And to give them time to be like, okay, I see this. This is how I feel. And now I can respond in a not sort of like immediate moment thing. Cause like, I mean, like for myself, and I assume probably a good amount of other people too, like that's a big, like lot to process. So, Just give them time, you know. Andrew, do I like to sing? I do, but I'm terrible at it. I did musical theater in high school and college, and as my music teacher liked to tell me, is that I'm not a bad singer. I just have a very limited range, which was, I think, about one note I could hit real well. And so I was always the background chorus person. So, do I have a favorite anime? Cowboy Bebop, off the top of my head, is absolutely my favorite. Followed probably by Non Biori. Is my second favorite, I think. Yeah. And then
Kimono Friends is up.
Oh yeah, I do like that. And Baki Monogatari is also one of my favorites. That's tough. Somewhere between those four ones. Oh my goodness. I can't read fat.
Are you only romantically involved with Win? Do the alters get jealous of wanting your attention?
I'm also romantically involved with Kitt. Do the other alters get jealous? I don't know. Do they?
No, you are really great about giving everybody time. So there's no jealousy involved. If somebody wants to come out front, they're just like, hey, can I? We're like, yeah.
Someone asked a Black Butler question. Hold on.
Uh-oh. You're going to show off my Black Butler thing again.
I'm proud of this. It's awesome.
It is really cool.
This is our...
Daniel showed this in his life.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah. He, the cats knocked him down, but that's our Black Butler. So...
Hi, Jeremy.
And someone asked, is Kitt overly flirtatious? She is. She is very flirtatious.
We've been trying to get her to rein it in.
Like, I think we went on a date together. I feel like she was like flirting with the waiter the whole time. I mean, he gave us awesome service, but through the whole time, I was like, let's tone it down a notch, please.
Oh, golly. Oh, everybody. Jeremy, you took over our chat. Who's out right now? Win. Do you like snakes?
Do I like snakes? No, like, that's one of those things where I always feel like they're really slimy and I'm afraid they're going to bite me. And I know they're not on either front, but it's just one of those, like, childhood things of mine that, like, I just can't deal with it. So...
I do want to jump in on one question. Someone says, Kitt is gay, right? Because she's talked about being a lesbian. Yes, she is. She did fall for Andrew. She likes him a lot. It kind of really messed with her sense of identity. She's not ready to call herself bisexual. Right now, she's calling herself a lesbian with one exception, because Andrew's the first male she's ever had feelings for. So she's working through that.
Snakes can be slimy. That makes it so much worse. Were you surprised by the Little's revelation?
I think that's referring to them calling you dad.
Oh, no. I mean, not really. Like, again, like, kind of, it goes back to, like, recognizing their ages and that, you know, they didn't have the best family parental units growing up, and so they have someone that's a bit, you know, I don't know, cool and calm-headed, and I don't want to say like I'm an awesome guy, but I feel like I do an all right being a father figure to the...
He doesn't want to say he's an awesome guy, so I'll go ahead and say he's an awesome guy.
You can be a lesbian and date whoever you want. Oh, thank you.
So nice and validating.
Would you change the system's past? I mean, if that meant you'd lose them. Ooh, that's a tough question. Would I? Like, I don't want bad things to ever happen to anyone. So I think I'd like to think everyone would be on the same page, that it meant if none of those bad things could have happened, that they wouldn't let, like, if I could be like, hey, I can not have these bad things happen to Bronwyn, excuse me, and that meant I wouldn't exist, I would be okay with that. So I'd like to think they would be on the same page with me. So you guys should come to Rio. Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
On a separate note, we are trying to go to Peru at some point. My stepmother is Peruvian, and so we have a lot of her family down there who wants us to come down there and visit. Do you consider your relationship polyamory? I don't know what we think about that. This is all kind of a brand new thing, so I don't know how to.
Like, the way if it was anybody outside my system, I wouldn't be okay with it. So I don't know if polyamorous describes us well, because I wouldn't be okay with this if Kitt was in a different body. So I don't know.
Did you plan on coming to Germany? We did go to Germany once.
We didn't go to Germany.
We spent like 24 hours there when our plane got delayed, or no, it was overbooked, and so we got to spend. But it was like a holiday, and so apparently everything closes in Germany on holidays. So we got to eat at our hotel and look outside. But kind of, yeah, I'd like to go to Germany. I actually just listened to a podcast on Colditz Castle, and that was just the coolest thing ever. And so I kind of want to go visit that specifically for Colditz Castle, but there's a lot of history there. And so I think that might actually be real interesting to go visit.
Also, hi, Labyrinth System. I'm just going to say hi to everybody.
Am I a dog person or a fish person? Dogs or fish? See, like, I had so many, and people are always like, oh, I had so many dogs growing up. My mom used to raise and breed show dogs. And so we've had a ton of dogs. And so I'm kind of all dogged out on my life. So probably fish. Thoughts on integration? I think that's a them sort of decision to make. If that's what they're comfortable with, then they go for it. If they don't want to, then I'm just as happy about it. I think Kim and I actually had a big conversation about that, of where she felt like she needed to integrate. And I was like, no one's saying you have to do that. Like, if you don't, you don't. If you want to, you want to. That's, they're their own people. And if they want to do what they want to do, that's their lives. And I'm not going to stop them from doing what they want to do.
Hi, everybody. It's Kitt.
How old is Kitt?
I'm 27. I aged up with the body after I decided to co-host. So I'm not 16 anymore. Everybody keeps saying I am.
How do you balance time with everyone in the system? Probably not well. I feel like that's their decision when they come out and what they want to do. And I just kind of roll with it. So everyone's very excited.
Oh my God.
Oh, now we've lost all the questions.
Sorry.
The best castle here is... I'll have to go relook that up later.
Hi, Brazil.
Is not aware that he is an altar. Have you ever experienced this problem? Everyone keeps saying I sound like Evan. I don't think I know who that is, so I'll rewatch those videos. I think someone asked me, do I watch other people's videos? I have watched some of the Jeremy videos, and I watched, I think, a handful of the Dissociated.
I don't know if it's Dissociated or Dissociated. You also watched at least one of the Multiplicity in Me videos. I made you.
Would I like to go to space? You better believe I'd love to go to space. That's my childhood dream. as a child, there's two things I wanted to be when I grew up. One was an army man. The other one was an astronaut. I already became an army man, so I'm halfway to becoming an astronaut. I'm never going to be an astronaut. I'm too old, but I would love that.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a space force now.
Oh yeah, there is going to be a space force because that's where we are now in our lives in America. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know how well my job in the Air Force would translate to space. There's not, so we'll see if they do that. I guess how old am I? I am 32. What advice do you have for alters who want or seeking different things in a relationship? Should it be up to the current host? I'm probably not the person to answer that. I'm kind of let people make their own decisions. So I think it's important that everyone has these are where I'm comfortable at and these are my boundaries. And just kind of respect that in your partner and just figure out what works best for you guys. And if you guys can't work that out, then you can't. What do I do in the Air Force? Your husband's the weather. Oh, that's awesome. We actually, someone at Bronwyn's store was a weather guy, and I'm always jealous of those people. I'm the EOD. I'm on the bomb squad for the Air Force.
So there's a question up there, Andrew. Are you Win right now?
No. Who's my favorite version of the Doctor? Matt Smith. Like, unpopular choice, but Matt Smith was my favorite Doctor. So, someone said, do you remember when you met Kitt for the first time? The first time I was aware of it, I think she was yelling at me.
Yeah.
So, what is the bomb squad? We disarm bombs. So, various types of explosives. Make sure they don't explode or they explode where we want them to. How do you deal with tantrums from the alters? I don't think any of our alters.
Other than me.
Yeah.
Other than myself, no one throws tantrums.
So, which alter did you meet first? I think we kind of thought that it was Daniel, though. Like I said, I kind of met someone that was like, I'm a fairy, but there was nothing more beyond that. And so not really sure who that was at the time. I call Bronwyn, sorry, that answered that question of do I call Win Bronwyn or Win more regular? I call her Bronwyn. Win is a brand new thing. And after 7 years, I'm hard to break that habit. So, did you see the rest of the live stream, Kitt?
Yeah, no, I've been watching in the background. I let Win know ahead of time. I was like, hey, I want to be with Andrew on the live stream for part of it. So get off camera and let me switch.
Why Braun? That's her birth name was Bronwyn. What's your opinion of making Win and her alters happy? Do you think you have to make individual alter happy, or is it one for all and all for one? Each individual person I try to make happy. I thought it was important that everyone kind of have their own hobby. And so I spend time with each one individually and try to make sure that they all have their own things that they like to enjoy to do and that we each have our own thing we like to do with each other so that everyone's treated individually. My favorite book, The Plague by, and I'm probably going to mispronounce the last name, Albert Camus, is my favorite book.
There's a question that they're asking if whenever read your tarot.
Yeah, we do that for fun all the time. Don't necessarily believe it, but I think it's tons of fun. Would you try trapeze like in a circus?
You're scared of heights.
Yeah, I can't deal with heights. So, what are my hobbies? I don't actually have a lot of hobbies. I'm more kind of like spending time with people. Sort of is my favorite thing to do. But other than that, like I like reading. I like to do the Warhammers And so spend a lot of time like painting models and things like that, or getting to play the game. Are you as well versed in system triggers as they are? I think I'm pretty good. I think we have a lot of good communication. So when they're aware of what their triggers are, like they generally will let me know. You can't go into space if you're scared. See, like, okay, so I can't deal heights, but like I can be on airplanes, I can be on helicopters, like completely fine. It's when it's like an example would be like rappelling or fast roping that
Just ignore me. Keep going.
okay. That I lock up, and those are the two most terrifying things for me. And do I play Age of Sigmar or 40K? I do 40K. Like, if I had more money, I'd want to do an Age of Sigmar army, but as far as where my money is going right now, I have a heavy investment in 40K, and so I can't real turn away from that right now. Do I talk to Daniel when you have relationship problems with when like a boy talk? No, I think Wynn and I we're very open with each other. If we have a problem, we like to address it. Like if there's an issue that comes up, we're very like understanding and being like, hey, I have this problem right now. And then we'll either deal with it at that moment or give ourselves time to reflect back on that and come back to it at a later time. Also, text messaging each other, I think, helps out a lot when we're angry at each other, because we get to physically look at the words that we're saying and physically look at the words that they said, and it helps us go through things a lot.
So, hi, Nihongo, yomimasu.
What are your two favorite songs from The Greatest Showman? What's the beginning song?
The Greatest Show.
The Greatest Show. The all-time favorite. What's the one that I love? What's the name of that song?
It's, oh crap. It's the one where they're going over, like the other side or something. It's called The Other Side.
Oh, there we go. The Other Side. That's my other favorite one. Does Wynn get involved with military active? If so, do her alters involve themselves? No. She was in the military herself, and she doesn't really get herself that involved. And generally, I don't. I guess whenever there's like a mandatory fun time, I'm not going to make Bronwyn go to that, or any of the alters go to that, because I think they're terrible and they know it's terrible. And so I'm not going to make everyone else suffer when I can just suffer on my own. I learned about the DID after meeting when we kind of both, that was 3-4 years into us knowing each other when she got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years. My favorite anime series / film.
I kind of already answered that one.
Well, I said series, but I don't know if film. What was the one that we just saw at the theaters?
The fireworks one?
It
was like fireworks something.
Fireworks was really good. I guess I was thinking
Your Name?
Your Name. That one was awesome.
I also like A Silent Voice. Did you like that one as much?
A Silent Voice. Yeah, that one was really sweet. So, Kitt, when did you meet Andrew? And she was yelling at me.
Yeah. There's so much Japanese going through. I can't read it super quickly. I'm sorry. Also, I only know a little bit of kanji. There was a question up there earlier asking if I understand kanji, and I know like this much because there's a million of them, but I'm not going to respond to the Japanese questions because this is for Andrew.
Would I adopt the penguin? Yes, I would. In a heartbeat. I would give up everything I own to own a penguin.
Except for me.
I don't own you.
Okay.
Do I speak other languages? I took 5 years of Spanish, and I learned a little bit of Korean when I was living in Korea for 2 years, but that has drastically been reduced. And sometimes I can't remember what were real words and what were funny words that I made up in my head that sounded like real words in Korean. So sometimes I get those mixed up. Do you want any other pets? As I'm looking at the cat like herself, I'm like, I'm pretty solid with pretty solid with the amount of pets we have right now.
Two's a good number.
When you learned Wynn had DAD, were you afraid you were not dating her and maybe an alter all along? You know, that never occurred to me until just now. So I think looking back on that, I'm pretty sure. Like getting to know all the alters, like I know when someone's out, even when they don't say it. So I'm fairly confident I was with Wynn 95% of the time. What is your favorite place to be? Like if we're saying like where was my favorite place I ever lived, I'd say Seoul was my favorite place that I've ever lived, and probably the most fun 2 years I had in my life. Favorite place I visited, I loved when we went to Egypt. Like that was probably the most fun vacation. Just as a huge history buff. Favorite place, like the couch. Yeah, we probably spent too much time on the couch.
It's gotten a lot of love. This couch is falling apart because we sit on it so much. It was also really cheap.
Do you not food super spicy? No, I love super spicy food, and so whenever because that was for those who don't know, there's this big thing of like people in Korea never thought other people could handle how spicy their food is, and so that was something that was always like a topic of whenever I'd be like, hey, I want some I always forget the name of it in Korean, but it's hangover soup. And they'd be like, this is super spicy, and I was like, yes, that's why I'm ordering it. Come to Alaska. I've had a few opportunities to go to Alaska, but they were all involving camping out for a month, and I'm not a big camper. So maybe at some point I'd like to go to Alaska. How much tattoos? I got 2 tattoos. So one on each shoulder. Yeah, hangover soup's the best. Come to Mexico. Been to Mexico before, had a great time. It was like freshman year of college. So, do I get seasick? No, I don't. Do we enjoy horror movies? I enjoy them to a degree, not as much as say someone like Wynn or Kim enjoys horror movies, but I think they're fun. Do you feel like you have a more interesting, less mundane relationship because of DID? I don't think I've ever thought my relationship was not interesting or mundane. So I'd say it's been a wild ride since day one. What kind of video games do we play together? Resident Evil, when there's the 2 players. We've been doing Ark together. I'm trying to think of other 2-player games. Earth Defense Force. That was my favorite 2-player game.
It's the most ridiculously fun game.
Chucky franchise terrified me as a child. Could not watch that. And never have I gone back. What are we doing for dinner today? I don't know. That's a good question.
I was going to cook a pizza.
Pizza. My favorite. Is not yet in a relationship. When, how should you tell someone about it? Ooh, I don't know.
I would say early on.
Yeah. I
feel like if you go too far in and then you're like, oh, by the way, I've been hiding this giant thing about me, I don't know, like make sure they like you first. Give it like maybe 3 dates and then be like, hey.
Favorite video game? That'd be a toss-up between Wild Arms and another unpopular opinion, Final Fantasy IX. Favorite food is definitely pizza and hot wings. We'll oh, no. See if there's any question. Can you tell who is out front by their body language? Probably not by their body language. Sometimes, but the body language is more subtle. I'd say voice and the way that they're talking. Like, I'm getting better through text messages being able to tell who's out, but sometimes I have to be like, okay, before I say this, who's out right now? Should I make nachos or quesadillas? I'm nachos over quesadillas every day of the week. I guess it depends on what you put on your quesadillas, but whenever I make quesadillas, it's always just microwave tortilla and cheese, and that's because that's all we have left at the time.
Wynn was out during the wedding day. She was the only one who was out during the wedding day.
What's Jessica's voice like? Very country. And so when she first came out, it was a very jarring experience for me because I was like, well, this is no one I know. Would you rather get glasses or contacts or laser eye surgery to not wear glasses? Been waiting to do laser eye surgery. Probably going to try and go for that next year. My vision keeps getting slightly worse. I have astigmatisms in both my eyes, and so they needed to be stable for X amount of period of time. Can't do contacts. Tried that once. Got one contact in. Eyeballs freak me out. Heights and eyeballs, two freakiest things in the whole world. Just like eye juices. And so when I put it in, then I was terrified I was never going to get it out. And despite being a 31-year-old man at the time, I cried because I thought the contact would be stuck in my eye forever.
I was going to say, I think it was like half that and half trying to get it out and irritating your eye was making you cry too.
Yep. Favorite superhero? Like Superman is probably going to be my favorite, or Cyclops. Unpopular opinion, Cyclops is my favorite. Actually, is Cyclops? I'm trying to think of the comics that I've been reading and what's my favorite.
Cyclops, Spider-Man is one you see.
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man. Superior Spider-Man.
Green Arrow.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm going to say Superior Spider-Man, favorite superhero. Doc Ock made a much better Spider-Man than Spider-Man. What?
When you have bad days, do the alters come out to do a specific job to comfort you?
I don't know. I think when I have bad days, I don't let bad days affect me for very long. Like, I don't say sad or angry for very long, but I guess that'd be more of a you question.
I feel like Kim is like your instant happy switch. Like, even on his like grumpiest days, Kim will come out and he'll be like, oh, it's Kim. Oh my goodness. He likes to tease her by like acting super cute and like treating her like a little kid, and then they laugh it off and whatever. But his mood always picks up when she comes out.
Do you guys have a goofy thing you always say to each other, like always kiss me goodnight, or ditto like on Ghost?
Ghost is a movie.
Oh, I don't know about reference. I'm trying to think of silly things.
Bye.
Oh yeah, we do that. Whenever it's time to go, it's like boy. That's usually how we say goodbye. I think I said that to Kim once, and it's sort of just like, that's what I'm used to saying, and she was like, I don't do kisses. And I was like, my apologies. What was I gonna say? Marvel or DC? Ooh, kind of depends. Like the one-shot DC stories, like I forget what they're called now, but like Superman, Red Sun, and things like that. Like the alternate universe DC graphic novels are ones that I tend to super love. But as far as like reading comics on a regular basis, it's always just kind of Marvel. I kind of like, after the Secret Wars, I kind of like got way too branchy for me, into where I was like, I can't afford to do this many comics at this time. So
I was gonna say, everybody do like a 50-cent thing on the super chat and we can go buy Andrew comics after this.
do we guys get fan mail? I think she gets
Well, like on Tumblr.
On Tumblr, yeah.
We've been asked a lot if we're gonna do a P.O. box. And that's something I'm thinking about, but we're not going to make any promises because everybody's like, I have a makeup that I want to send you. And I'm like, oh, free makeup.
What do you think of the Marvel movies? I'd say there are a few that I absolutely love, and then most of them, like, they're good movies. They're not bad, but not something like I would watch again, with the exception of, like, I think Ant-Man was honestly one of my favorite ones. Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one was one of my favorite ones. Favorite Disney princess? Is Moana considered a Disney princess? She was a chieftain's daughter. I don't know if that makes her a princess. So
I feel like they actually said that in the movie. She's not a princess. Because you've got a talking pet and then Quest or something, you're a princess.
How often do you and Kitt argue? Not very much anymore. I'm
nice now.
It's one of the Mulan's an awesome movie. I often forget about that. Is Meg from Hercules considered a Disney princess? Okay, let's see. We're kind of having a Disney argument right now.
I was gonna say, just scroll up.
If an alter wanted to date someone else, how would you feel about it? How would that be handled? Like, that was something we kind of talked about as far as, like, I'm not comfortable with that. And so everyone else kind of agreed to that. Like, they respected my comfort level on that. And so that's kind of where we are on that right now. Do you guys do anything special on the weekends? I guess it depends on the weekend. I don't think we have a specific thing that we like to do. So, do all the alters have their own favorite movies or TV shows?
Ish. I mean, we share a lot of the same favorites, which is convenient because then we can, like, get time in on those shows. I definitely know there are shows and movies that, like, Kim likes that I don't, and that I like that Kim doesn't. Right now we're watching Darling in the Franxx, and we all really enjoy that. I've been told that in like 2 episodes it's going to get ruined forever and I'm not going to like it anymore. But that's kind of like a group favorite. We try to like gravitate towards things that everybody likes because it's too difficult to put up a timeshare for everybody to watch their own shows. So we try to like be like, does everybody like this one? Let's spend time there.
Someone asked Star Trek or Star Wars. Star Trek for me. I'm a bigger fan of sci-fi that's more grounded in reality as opposed to Star Wars, which is like a fantasy sci-fi. Still love Star Wars, but like Star Trek is way more my thing. Super excited about more Captain Picard coming back, and like hard sci-fi. Like The Expanse is honestly one of my favorite TV shows right now. Real glad that that's coming back and that didn't get canceled. What are some of the which Star Trek version? The next gen? Are we saying like new alternate universe versus old one? But favorite of the Star Treks was The Next Generation, followed by Deep Space Nine. Space Western. Fair enough. It's still got some fantasy and magic. So The Good Place is such a good show. I've been
told that it's on Netflix.
Oh, never even heard of it. Do they spoil? Question. Do alters ever come out and watch shows without you? And if so, do they spoil it?
No, we do not Netflix cheat. Thank you very much. Does it get confusing if 2 alters co-front? Can you tell them who is who? Does it ever happen often?
I would say there are times where I've been like, it seems like there's like a tiny mini sort of like switch in tone and intonation and just kind of like what I wouldn't expect someone to say in given a situation. But I don't know how much that is something that's happened as far as that being really what happened.
Yeah, I say like we don't co-front very often. But there will sometimes be like someone who's very close to the front and it'll like kind of interfere, like they'll blend a little bit. We do have times where like I don't know exactly what to call it, but it's kind of like a bunch of people are up front, but nobody's up front at the same time. It's like this weird, just like jumble, and Andrew's had to deal with that a few times.
The little swear, do you let them or correct them? I let them.
If the little swear, you have to correct them. No.
I don't know. Like it kind of goes back to like when I was teaching kids, like say like 6 and up. I'd be like, okay, kids, what's your favorite swear word? And they'd tell me, and I'd be like, all right, now that you guys have all sworn in front of me, in case I accidentally swear in this classroom, you can't tell on me, or I'll tell all your parents you swore in class too.
Oh my God.
Do I dance? Only when I'm drunk. Do alters have different sleeping habits? I don't think so.
Yeah. I can stay up way later. Kim likes naps a lot. Wynn's kind of in the middle of that.
So, yeah, I'll do it anyways. Yeah, people swear. It happens. What's your tattoo on your arm? They're silly. I'll show you my less silly one. This is my Doctor Who tattoo. So that's that one. The other one's much sillier. I'm embarrassed about it at this point. Yeah, Kim does like napping quite a bit, doesn't she?
Yeah, it's her thing, I guess.
Someone say, how did I find out about Dr. Man? While she was cooking dinner for me is how I found out. So, what's my alcoholic drink of choice? Probably just Jack and Coke is usually the silliest. I mean, not silliest, the easiest thing. Or so. What is the significance of the Doctor Who tat? And I'm trying to remember. I got it. I want to say it's like
the symbol for Gallifrey, isn't it?
No, because that was a more complicated one. Now I can't remember. I want to say it was like Infinity or something. Firefly? Yeah, I loved Firefly. So, Kitt, if the person out front is asleep, do things still happen in the headspace?
Yeah, sometimes. Kim napped for 8 years though. Yeah. Anyway, so like most of the time we all kind of shut down when the body goes to sleep, and like we use that time to reprogram. Like also sleep, I guess. The other night, Kim stayed up all night trying to like concoct a card game. And I thought that was hilarious, but like every time we woke up, just like those thoughts were at the forefront of the mind, and she had like progressed a certain amount. We didn't sleep well that night though. Like if someone's up and active, we don't sleep as well. So we try to all sleep at the same time.
I'm going to sound like such a bad fan. Who's your favorite Doctor Who companion? It was Rory and who was her part? Now I can't remember. It was someone help me out. It was Rory and so and so.
The Girl Who Waited, which is on the little box. Amy.
No.
Yeah, it was Amy and Rory.
I thought.
Amy
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rory's the boy.
Yeah. I know that.
Oh,
there we go. See, we were just going back. There's too much. Okay. Yeah, Rory is probably one of my favorite Doctor Who characters. Do I like dolphins? I don't have anything opposed to dolphins.
Dolphins are creepy.
Yeah, dolphins are kind of like ducks in the far as like you think they're adorable, but they have disturbing backstories to every single one of them. How does alcohol affect the headmates?
it gets them drunk. I don't.
Well, I guess
It's
one
been
have more tolerance than the other.
I have more tolerance for sure. We don't let the littles front when we drink, obs, because they shouldn't experience intoxication in the body. Daniel just doesn't like to drink. I don't know. It's been a while since I got trashed, so I'm not sure.
I think you guys all did the Myers-Briggs thing, right?
Yeah. I don't have you?
Yeah, I have.
Oh yeah, I have it written down what you are.
She's got it written down. Do I miss traveling? All the time. Like, I've moved around so much too that it gets to the point where, like, if I'm in a place for more than 3 years, I get real anxious about living in that same place. Like, I want to go live somewhere else. So plan is 2020 to be able to move somewhere else. Haven't really figured out where we're going to live yet. A lot of possibilities on that.
Possibilities.
Yes. So do the authors have different handwriting? Yes. I do believe they do have different handwriting.
Most of us are. I think he's an INFP.
No. Oh yeah, I's
Introverted. Yeah. No, a lot of us have different handwritings, but then because we're all using the same hand, some of us don't. I don't know why some of us do and why some of us don't. But
yeah. Sorry, someone asked, do you plan on going to do nursing in the Air Force? It's either going to be Air Force or Navy. Actually, there's 3 possibilities on that one of doing active duty with the Air Force as a nurse or the Navy. I like the Navy's nursing mission better as far as like their hospital ships going to third world countries. Or doing the nursing in the Air Force, and that would just be a really easy transfer over. Or doing civilian nursing on a U.S. military base overseas. Like, I'd love to go back to Korea or Japan as far as being able to be a civilian nurse on a military base on one of those places. So we'll just kind of see what jobs are open after I pass that test, hopefully. If either of you guys like crocodiles, they're his favorite. I like crocodiles. We went to that, who was the crocodile Egypt god?
Sobek?
Sobek. We went to Sobek's temple in Egypt, and that was awesome. But when in company travel with you, yes, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to move somewhere or travel somewhere without them. So I think everyone seems to be pretty jazzed about visiting Japan next year. So we'll all have a great time.
Even though he's not going to take Kim to the BL Cafe.
Oh, yeah, I forgot she likes that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that one. Does Wynn get therapy while traveling? I think, she's got her phone number and email. I don't know if that ever came up in our previous travels. Like,
never needed it.
Yeah. Did I personally teach them to write? No.
All the littles can write. They have that ability. They can all read and write with no problem.
Do not go to Japan in summer.
It's hot.
Oh, I mean, we went to Egypt in summer, so I feel like we'll be fine.
How did you know Wayne was the one for you?
How did I know that Wayne was the one for me? I think it came down to when we were talking about, because she got out of the Army a little bit before I did. And so it came down to like, because we were having this huge conversation about should we break up or not. And I was like, why would we do that? And she was like, well, because I'm moving. And I was like, oh no, I don't want that to happen. Can't live without her. So it was kind of at that moment of where like just that realization that she might not be there, that I was like, oh no, I can't ever have that happen.
You're so cute. Oh my God.
Do any of the headmates hate what another person loves to eat?
Mistletoe was a vegetarian, so that was a thing.
She likes chewing bubble gum, and Kim hates chewing bubble gum, if that helps.
That's true.
So, favorite animal, the penguin. So, hardcore penguin fan. And I think we're slowing down on our internet speed.
Dun, 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 dun. Somebody just asked if anybody at the littles have earwormed Baby Shark for you, and now I've got that song stuck in my head. Thank you, jerk.
I don't know what that is.
Baby Shark, do 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 do. Baby Shark, do. Okay.
I don't know.
He hasn't get sucked into that. He doesn't internet as much as we do.
Yeah, we had very different growing ups.
Oh, answer that one.
Do the headmates ever get on your nerves? So,
Watch as he pauses trying to answer.
Nah, I mean, in the same way that like being in close capacity with anyone is gonna get on your nerves, you know, like it's just a fact of life, and it doesn't last very long. So, oh no.
Is Kitt ever jealous of Win when it involves Andrew? No. When I was real worried for a long time that Win was going to be like angry at me or jealous, or that was going to make stuff complicated. But so far it hasn't at all. So
Everyone's doing
okay, no Baby Shark. Guys, let's ask questions.
How do you react to when they switch? Kind of take it in stride, you know, like me. I mean, these are all people I'm super comfortable with and like being around. So someone comes out, it's just switching gears and figuring out what we're going to do from there. So they do get on your nerves. Do you ever ask for someone else to come out? No, I've never asked for someone else to come out specifically. Like, this isn't everyone had them having their decision on what they want to do. I'm not going to be like, you go back to your corner.
We're not Pokemon.
Yeah.
Return.
Yeah, Kim and I were watching a Pokemon movie last night. And I just like, it feels so bad for them when they go back to their tiny balls, and it's like, back to the hole with you. You did good fighting. Do you help in some way when a switch is about to happen in public? No. I don't think so. Usually I try to give everyone their own space. I kind of view like switching as in like someone's changing their clothes, where it's a very personal thing, and you know, they'll let them go do their own thing, and I'm not going to stand there and watch them. So I'll probably just pull up my phone if I feel like it's happening or they know it's going to happen. Our switch is always quick. It depends on.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Does it bug you?
When Andrew says Pokemon, I think it's cute. He pronounces words all the time wrong, like on purpose, and I think it's adorable.
Who does the bills? Win does. I'm terrible when it comes to financial planning, and so Win does all of that, and I get my weekly allowance from her on what I'm allowed to spend and not spend.
Is your relationship with Kitt different from yours with Win?
Probably. I mean, not probably, definitely. In the sense of like, are you and Kitt dating or married? We're dating. So I'd say like that's the difference between getting to know someone on a deeper level as opposed to, you know, Win and I have been married for forever and have known each other for forever. So it's a budding relationship.
Bud. Do the alters get weekly allowances?
Kim does. She super loves her Pokemon cards, and no one else seems to like cleaning. So we struck a deal of where she gets paid to do some allowances around the house, and everyone wins. So
Did you ever struggle with the awkwardness of using the right names in the start, and do you always use the name Win in public?
I don't know how much I actually refer to anyone as their own name. Like, even outside of alters, unless I'm trying to get their attention and like we're away, like a distance away, but really I don't do that much. It's usually like,
Yeah, like when you talk to someone, it's not like I'm like, hi, Andrew, how's your day, Andrew? Hey, Andrew, will you go do Andrew? And like, you don't use a person's name when you're talking to them that much.
but I mean, if then it comes up, I'll refer to them as their own name. I think that was a bit different in the beginning, like trying to get used to the whole concept of DID, of where I was super not comfortable with it. And so, have I interacted with significant others of other systems? I have not. So, I wouldn't even, like, I don't have like social media, so I wouldn't even know how to go about that, to be honest. So, where to date someone with the same body as your wife without making this difference? No, I'd say like if this had been a year ago, it'd be very different. But like I said, my mind is kind of better at conceptualizing. They're their own different individual people, and so like this having the same body is kind of, I don't know, not something that I think about too often.
What's something you enjoy about dating a system specifically because they're a system? And by dating, I'm sure you mean married.
Well, I mean, like you.
Yeah.
The best. What do I enjoy about dating the system? I guess like I think one of my favorite things is the wide variety of likes, of being like doing different things with different people, like things that Win might not like is something like Kitt enjoys doing, so it's something Kitt and I can go do, or something Daniel enjoys doing that no one else doing is something that we can do together. And same with like Kim is just being able to kind of opens up the hobby front and activities of what you're going to do with your day. What's my favorite thing about Kitt? I'd say like I like her sarcasm, her straightforwardness, and her like ability to be able to like take jokes. I'm a very jokey person. 9 out of every 10 sentences I say is generally a joke, and whereas like I've had to develop over the time with Bronwyn of being like, I got to be more serious and conscientious of what I say.
It's not just jokes; they're very like deprecating jokes, which is fine with me. But like Win is very sensitive. She doesn't have a lot of self-esteem. So when you're like, I don't even know, like if she messes up and he's like, oh, that's classic Win. And she's like, oh my God, I don't mess up all the time, do I? And then, but like, I can understand that that's a joke. So we could joke that way.
Yeah. I had to change it to, I don't know if anyone watches Star versus the Forces of Evil, but it changed it. Really starred that up. So.
Do you need more water?
No, I'll be fine. We got like 15 more minutes. Has an alter ever eaten someone else's food? Do the littles have? I think we're very communal on everything as far as like, I don't think we ever have one thing that's specifically for one person.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it's like, not food related, but everyone has like their own thing that's theirs, that they own, that's no one else's. So, has there ever been a switch during a date? Yes, that's happened plenty of times. I think it's been less frequent in the past couple months as opposed to the past, when it'd be like, I started the movie off with Bronwyn, and then Mistletoe was driving us home. Do you feel like you have to be their babysitter? I think at the beginning I felt like that. But I think as I've gotten to know them more that it's not ever felt like that, of where like if they want to do their own thing, they can go do their own thing, and I trust them to, to like Win or Kitt to be watching over them to make sure that they don't do anything crazy. So Julie has to go. Bye, Julie.
Our boss showed up, so she stopped watching our stream. Oh, yeah. Merchandise for the channel is being considered. Before we launch anything big, like our planned Patreon and our probable merch someday, we want to see how this next semester goes, because we're taking 15 credit hours. So if we find that we can handle that and still do more stuff, then you will start seeing merch and a Patreon. But we want to make sure that we can be like consistent for you guys before we try doing something big like that.
Okay. Something I just wanted to address real quick. Someone said that they have the idea and they're afraid of being in a couple because of it. It can be a nightmare. Don't say that. Don't ever think about that like that. It's not a burden. It's not terrible. It's just something different. I don't think I've ever felt like it was a burden. I never felt like my life was less because of that. It's like, I don't think there have been any negatives, that it's only been a positive. So like, don't be worried about being in a relationship. And then I also wanted to address, do I play any instruments? I did play the trumpet when I was little, but that was only because I super wanted to play the violin. But my violin instructor informed me my fingers were too fat to play the violin. And so then I was like, what's the loudest instrument you have then? And they're like, the trumpet. And I was like, trump me up. Oh, that sounded bad.
I was gonna say that's not something we can say now without.
Yeah, trumpet. So yeah, I played a trumpet. Am I getting a bachelor's or master's? I just got my master's, not master's, and I got my bachelor's in nursing. I worked on a master's in education until I decided teaching was not for me. Do I let the littles drive? No. I've been teaching Kim how to drive, though, but she's kind of in a weird middle between little and adult. So,
do you know why Multiplicity and Me hasn't uploaded in a video in a while? Because they had a baby. It's all over their Instagram. Okay, keep going.
Someone asked if you guys want to have kids someday, but if you do you feel more prepared because you already know how to care for littles? I mean, I've had a lot of teaching experience from like, even like I did daycare, or I worked at a daycare in college, and I worked with kids from age 3 to like 16. So, and then for my nursing, like preceptorship, I did it actually at a maternity ward. So I worked with mother babies for 6 weeks, and that was tons of fun. So I feel like I'm somewhat more prepared than the average Joe of taking care of little kids.
Yeah, he's gonna be an amazing dad. Like, that's not even a question.
How did they convince you to do a live stream?
Blink twice.
I like reading through like the comments and things like that on her videos and like things on the Tumblr. Like, I respond to some of them on her like YouTube videos, but kind of like there was a lot of things I was like, well, I feel like I'm comfortable enough to address this now. And like, there's a lot of, like things that I felt like would be helpful. And so I was like, now seems like a good time to do this. And like, really all I have is studying, other than some work trips between now and October. So really nothing but free time for that. Are the host changes intention? I don't know what that means.
Host changes, like the fact that I'm hosting now.
Oh, I mean, I feel like she's decided it was intentional.
Well, I mean, I was out all the time. That wasn't necessarily intentional. We just went through like this roller coaster of a couple months of just like nonstop stress and new stuff and whatever. And so like I was out a lot just to help out because I was like, I can help out. This is no problem. I volunteer for tribute, you know? And then I was out so much that I was like, well, I'm just going to keep having this be a thing, and I'm going to be co-host, and I'm going to invest out in the outside world.
This question popped up a few times. Favorite type of music? Like, I don't know. Music genres have changed so much now that I don't even know how to describe it. Before, I'd be like, indie lo-fi music or indie pop is what I kind of like. Like, it helps. My favorite band is Los Campesinos. And so kind of that genre of music, if any of you have heard of that, that's my type of music. So I also like French music from the 1960s, but that's also like real weird thing that somehow popped up on my Pandora channel. And I was like, this is the best. So I just came here, but that's good. It is Kitt.
Hi.
What is your number one tip for meeting a person with the ID? I mean, just treat them like you would any other person. They're their own individual people with their own likes, dislikes, pasts, and they're people. So again, you don't have to like them, but just treat people with respect. I do have some weird niche tastes, right? So what the switches look like. Sometimes it's just them blinking and the other person come out. Like I said, someone asked that before, of where it's just kind of like, I like to give them their own private time for that, of like, you wouldn't just watch someone undress and put on clothes.
At least I hope you wouldn't. There are weird people out there, Andrew.
I feel like someone asked, do I like the band M83? I feel like that sounds familiar. I'll have to look them up. How did everyone react to Kitt co-host? We did answer that question previously of Kitt co-hosting, of where I just kind of asked, like, well, what does that mean? And they're like, does anything change? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, she wants to call herself that, then go for it. She was already out like 50% of the time anyways, and she was just like, I want this title. And I was like, that's cool. So that's kind of how that went. Peach Pit. Oh, you guys, we keep saying band names, and like, I want to say, like, it sounds familiar, but it could also be one of those things that where you can say any phrases of words together, and it's like, oh, that sounds like a band name, right? Do I know that band? I don't know. Most of my driving now is real long road trips of 30 minutes plus, and so usually I just listen to podcasts now, so I haven't listened to music a lot. How would you explain to the littles how there is a baby in them? Oh man, that's a terrifying question. I have no idea. Like, all right, real quick story of kind of those same lines of thought of when I was teaching in Korea. I guess like it happens sometimes where like parents won't explain to their daughters what a period is. And so one of my students in our class had her first period in our class, and she didn't know what that was. And she just started screaming like she was dying. And then I saw what happened. I was like, oh no, I'm grossly unprepared to have this conversation with her. And so we took her out of the class, and I was like, oh, I need to find a woman right now. So I have no idea how to answer or talk to the littles that there was a baby growing inside of them.
I feel like they're pretty smart cookies. I feel like they would figure it out. Like they understand. Hi, Eliza.
Someone asked, when was in Nevada? Were you worried about her? I have 100% faith in Bronwyn in the system to take care of themselves. Like, I've never been worried about them to be able to handle anything. So, are there any films or TV shows that you think represent the idea? Well, I know Wynn did a video. I don't know.
Okay, first of all, there's just not a lot out there that does this well.
I don't know how much I know. Do I think the littles are ever going to age? I know Michelle's aging. I don't know how the other ones feel about that. I mean, if they want to, or if that's a thing for them. So, were there any real serious episode, like depressing, with any of the alters? I don't. The wording on that question is weird, so I don't know exactly what that is.
Kim being afraid of integrating was kind of sad.
Oh yeah, that was real sad, and that was kind of the point of where like integration had always been the goal. And when she talked about that, I was like, I mean, you don't have to do anything you don't want to, you know, like it's your life, you know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. What are some unique things you do in your home to accommodate the everyone after the decks? I don't think we changed really anything as far as our home.
I think the only like odd things we do, air quoting that, is that we have stuff for the littles. Like, I am a grown woman who owns a pacifier, you know, like, I don't think there's anything other than that that's like different than like you'd walk in and be like, oh, this is a special home or something.
Do I ever go to the store by yourself and see something you know an alter would love to and get it for them? I feel like have I done that? I don't know.
You don't go out without us often.
Yeah, I don't often go out without them. There are times when like I'll go out or I'll see something online and I'll be like, ooh, and I'll save that or I'll buy something and get that as a gift. I'm a very gift giving person. Like I love to give gifts so much. And so that's one of my favorite things to do.
We will be like walking through Target and stuff and he'll be like, oh my God, so-and-so would love this, or Kim would love this. Like, so he is like thinking about us when he looks at things.
Do you ever get fed up with all the switching and sudden changes in mood or interest in spontaneous decisions? No. I don't, like I said, I don't think anything's that drastic. So, and like I said, I don't think I've ever thought anything negative about the whole deal. It's only been positives. So, sudden changes are fine. You know, like I love every single one of the alters. So, having someone else just suddenly switch out, it's always like, oh man, where have you been? Let's catch up. How's life been? Have you seen any evolution in their personalities from your perspective? Yeah. Kitt a lot. Kim, I've seen a lot of change in. And Daniel seems to have gotten a lot more timid than he was at the beginning. Like he was a real feisty kid right at the beginning. So what's my astrological sign? Capricorn. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
He is the Capricorniest Capricorn.
Yeah, Capricorn all day. Is there any alter that you haven't met yet? I think there's Jonathan, who have I met?
Yeah, because you've met everybody else, at least momentarily.
Yeah.
Can you show us the cat? She's going to hate me.
Oh, no.
Hi. Eliza hates being held.
Oh, no. Do you feel like you're married now or dating, Kitt?
Oh, we're dating. You know, we're getting to know each other on a personal level, you know, so I like that we're dating and we're not just like, oh, we're also married, because it's like, this is not me piggybacking on Lynn's relationship. This is me developing my own relationship with him.
So I said, before Wynn was diagnosed, could you tell there were other personalities? So for new people too, she was diagnosed with PTSD with dissociations previously. And so there's a lot of times, like 2 examples that I brought up previously was like Wynn being like, I'm a fairy. I'm very light and I can fly. And I was just like, oh, okay, let's get you home at the beginning. And then something that just occurred to me now when I was looking at that question and thinking about it would be times where like she'd be very scared and would like get underneath the covers and would be like, I'm getting small. I'm so small right now. Why am I so tiny right now? And kind of things like that, looking back on that and be like, oh, well, one of the fairies was Kitt or Mistletoe.
That wasn't me. I was like in hibernation.
Okay, so then probably Mistletoe. And then like one of the littles being the scared hiding underneath the covers.
It was probably Karen. Karen's the one that locks up after nightmares. So.
Did you guys get the cats together? We did get the cats together. So that's why we have 2 awesome cats. Would you and Kitt ever have your own wedding if things ever got that far? We actually were talking about that the other day. I thought it was the cutest thing when she brought that up. And I was like, we'll talk about that when that happens. Sorry, the one story of one of the littles said, I need to pee. If it makes you feel better, like if someone's like reacts what WTF to that, like, I don't know, that's not a great person. When I say I need to pee, I always go, I need to piddle. And everyone is always like, what are you talking about? You just kind of got to own it and just be like, I'm a silly guy. So, rest of the day after this stream, they got to get to work. Actually, oh shoot, we need to do dinner and get her to work. So, what kind of nursing do you want to do? I'm stuck with OB. Oh no. See, I didn't like OB. Like, I specifically didn't try to do or go down that route. Emergency department is something I'd love to do. And honestly, like, it sounds silly, but I super loved working in the maternity unit when I did. I actually applied for a maternity job, and like they called me back within like 4 hours, and they're like, you're a guy applying for this, what? And so I got an interview with them, and we'll see what happens with all my job interviews I've had so far. When I go to the bathroom, I say I'm going to the open chamber secrets. That's good. Okay. Anyways, last questions, because I keep flipping my watch around. Any last questions before we head
I'll start preheating the oven for the pizza.
I don't know.
I don't
know how to end things.
Oh, the big red button that says stop broadcast.
Yeah, we're talking about pet peeves and people annoying you.
You adore me.
Do you have a favorite animal? People are real interested in my favorite animal. Penguins again. Did you ever go to Croatia? Actually, I want to go to Croatia. I was looking at a tour in Croatia that just seemed like the coolest trip ever. So that was something I looked at fairly recently that I think would be awesome to go to. It looks like such a beautiful place. Do you ever get confused with the system? I'm not sure. Like, do they ever do things that are confusing to me? Yes.
That has nothing to do with the DID, though.
If you and Kitt didn't work, like if the Kitt and I didn't work out thing, that was something I was just thinking about. I was like, what happens if we have to break up? How does that work?
I go back into the headspace and I never come out again.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, that would be the most awkward ever. I'd be living with my ex.
I was going to say, it's like worse than working with your ex.
Yeah.
Like, you can't ever get away.
Can I tell who's at right away? Yes. I'll say 90% of the time I can, unless it's through text. Then that's like 3% of the time I know who I'm talking to when I'm texting. Will we do this again? Maybe. We'll certainly see. This seemed, honestly, like, I'm super introverted, so this seemed terrifying for me. And so this went a lot better than I thought it would be. Do you ever get completely thrown off by different altar fronting when you don't expect it? Sometimes, like mostly like when a little comes out and I was like, well, okay, now we're gonna get our coloring books out or put on banana or something. We'll get that going. All right. So, anyways, OB, like I was thinking, sorry, OR, not OB. See, I like OB. I think that was fun. I was thinking OR to the person who was asking that. But anyways, so that's Me brain farting. Okay. Anyways, all right, guys. It's Kitt and I signing off. So, all right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Mwah. I'm going to find the big red button now. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
You found it. Yay.